So yesterday, my son's friend, a senior, he's about to graduate, laughed and said, "Why would I not use AI? It does everything that I can faster. It's like my best friend." And here's the thing, he's not alone. 70% of students are already saying that they're using AI for school. So the question for us educators isn't whether students are using AI, it's whether it's actually helping them learn. Because AI is being adopted faster than it's being evaluated. And that's a problem. And most conversations that I'm hearing about AI either focus on efficiency or fear. What we really need to be asking is what kind of thinking is AI producing in our students? Because learning science is super clear about this. It's not about getting answers faster. It's about developing understanding and independence. It's about reasoning and justifying and transfer. So if AI just stays in the basement of Bloom's taxonomy, like summarizing and explaining, guess what? Our students' thinking is going to stay there too. And if you don't know me, I'm Dr. D. This is my channel, Teach with Dr. D. This channel is where we take brain science, translate it into classroom practice that actually works so you can make informed decisions that work best for you and your students. If you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? We got the freebies, we got all sorts of research-based ideas here that you can bring in your classroom tomorrow. And so here's the thing, when it comes to AI, we can't just go about banning it. I mean, come on, we all know what happens when you ban something with teenagers, right? We were teenagers once too. Banning does not stop behavior, it just drives it underground. At the same time, if we just blindly embrace it without any guardrails, how's that going with e-bikes? We need a smarter approach, one that is anchored in learning theory. So we need to treat AI like any other tool in the K-12 toolkit. And I'm talking about how to use a microscope, how to use a calculator, and oh yes, how to use a paintbrush, because I did try to teach painting without doing that, and it was an utter disaster, okay? So we began by teaching students how to engage with AI so it doesn't just overtake the learning, right? Because AI should never replace thinking. It should amplify it. So what are we talking about today? I'm showing you a framework that you can use. Simple 4-part framework you can use to determine whether AI is actually helping learning or hurting it. Part 1 starts with the most important question of all. Who is doing the thinking? The student or the AI? Let's get started. So if you've ever taught an emerging writer how to write an essay, you know you're not just going to say, go write an essay. You provide structure, give sentence frames, model, and scaffold. There is a gradual release of responsibility with support and guidelines. That's also how we're going to approach teaching our students how to use AI, right? We teach our students how to use it strategically, how to question it, revise it, and to think with it, and not to let it think for them. So part 1 of the framework, does AI use promote explanation and not just answer getting? See, here's the thing. Explanation is one of the strongest predictors of learning. And if students can explain why something works and not just what the answer is, learning is happening. And so how do we do that with AI? For example, in a history class, a student might ask AI, why did the Roman Empire fall? AI will certainly give a clear, well-written explanation. And is it efficient? Yes. Is learning happening? Maybe not. Now, if we compare that to a prompt that we explicitly teach our students how to ask, one that's modeled in UDL, Universal Design for Learning, check out the comments below, we might have it say this prompt. Explain 3 causes of the fall of the Roman Empire, then ask me which cause I think mattered most and why. Notice what's changed here. The AI is still providing information, but now it's modeling historical reasoning and not replacing it. The student has to weigh evidence, prioritize causes, and justify a claim. And that's the shift. It's from answer getting to sense making. And this is exactly what it looks like to move up in Bloom's taxonomy, right? We're going from understanding to analysis and evaluation by using AI intentionally. So part 1 of the framework, one of the questions that you may use to drive student learning is, can the student explain and defend their reasoning without the AI afterward? And if the answer is yes, learning's occurred. If the answer is no, perhaps AI did the thinking. But here's the thing. We're not teaching our students to be prompt engineers. We're teaching them how to be thinkers who know how to use AI as a tool and not just a shortcut. So once we know the student is doing the explaining, we can move to part two. Does learning transfer beyond the AI interaction? Again, learning science is telling us that if learning is happening, students should be able to apply what they did independently in a new situation. This is what I call the one-to-one transfer test. And this is something we teach students how to do, right? Especially with procedural skills. Let's look at a math example, factoring binomials. Task A is done with AI. Student might prompt AI, walk me through how to factor this binomial step by step, explain the strategy and any key terms as you go. And here's what the scaffold looks like when it's done. The students copying the steps into their notes. They're pausing to ask clarifying questions with AI like, why do we look for factors that multiply to this number? They're asking the AI to define or re-explain key terms like factor, coefficient, greatest common factor, and check their understanding as they go. AI is now working as a personal tutor, and students are not just watching the solution, they're interacting, clarifying, and making sense of the strategy. And this really matters because procedural skills are not a one and done. They need lots of practice, right? AI can actually extend the learning by generating additional problems and giving feedback immediately while students really need it. And here's the critical move to ensure that transfer is happening, right? Task B, they're going to do another task, but this one is human only. The student is given a new binomial to factor. It's going to have the similar structure, but it's going to have different numbers. And this time, no AI. Here's the evaluation question for part two. Can the student independently apply the factoring strategy that they practice with AI? If yes, learning transferred. If no, AI did the thinking. And this really connects to Levi Gotsky's work on zonal proximal development. I know you've all heard of it. AI becomes that scaffold. And learning only happens when that scaffold is removed. That's the one-to-one transfer test. Okay, third, does AI use increase student agency? And by agency, I mean, are students the decision makers, not just the consumers? Not just clicking, copying, pasting, and accepting whatever AI spits out. They're choosing, they're justifying. And here's what it looks like in a classroom. In a science class, students might be asking AI to generate two possible experimental designs. Then the real learning starts. They're comparing their options, they're critiquing them, and they choose one. They justify their choice using scientific reasoning. And that's the key. Because if AI stays in the basement of Bloom's, our students' thinking stays there too. So we have to use AI not as a couch, but an elevator, right? Something that lifts up their thinking. An agency turns students from consumers of information into curators of ideas. And honestly, this isn't just trendy AI talk. I'm talking straight out of Piaget, developmental thinking. Students are constructing knowledge and not just receiving it. We also see that in the standards of mathematical practice and the science and engineering practices. Students are designing, testing, justifying, and explaining. And this is where kids get college and career and life ready. AI should expand student ownership and not shrink it. Okay, now here we get to part four. This is where AI deepens learning, shuts it down. Does the AI use require critique and reflection, or does it bypass? Here's the thing, AI should be a thinking partner and not a finishing tool. Let's say you have your students write an argumentative essay. Instead of telling your students to ask AI to fix the writing or students doing that on their own, you need to explicitly teach the students how to ask for a critique. The students should prompt AI with, act as a writing coach, identify gaps in my reasoning, unclear claims, or weak evidence. But do not rewrite sentences or suggest wording for me. And that constraint is intentional. The AI will analyze and the students will decide. And here's where the learning actually happens, reflection. After receiving the feedback, the students must decide which critique matters, explain why they accept or reject specific feedback, and articulate how their revision improves their original argument. This is metacognition. Students aren't just revising, they're thinking about thinking. They're asking, what was I trying to say? Where did my reasoning break down? Okay, how did this feedback change my understanding of the task? This reflective step is what moves students forward, okay? Without reflection, AI feedback is just noise, but with reflection, it becomes learning. So here's the evaluation question that you want to ask for part four. Can the students explain why they made the revision they made and not just what they changed? If they can justify their decisions using evidence, purpose, or criteria, learning is happening. If they can't, AI did way too much work. Critique plus reflection pushes students into those higher level blooms, right? Evaluation, synthesis, metacognitive awareness. And that's where independence is built. So here's the non negotiable thing I did not share. Sorry, you got to model this, friends. Don't just hand your students prompt cards and hope for the best. Put AI up on the screen, show the students how to slow the process down, show them the kinds of thinking and questions they should be asking, right? Like, hey, I'm not sure I agree with that, and here's why. Or, you know what, that comment really doesn't match my purpose. Or, I feel like AI is changing my voice. Let them ask those tough questions, right? Because it shows them judgment, and that matters more than compliance. And we're not teaching students how to get better feedback. We're teaching them how to evaluate feedback. And that skill transfers far beyond AI. So when we zoom out, here's the full framework, right, for evaluating classroom use: explanation over answer getting, transfer beyond the AI, agency through choice and justification, critique and reflection, right? AI does not improve learning by default. It only works when we intentionally teach our students how to use it, how to think, because at the end of the day, our students, our goal isn't for them to be better prompters. They have an engineer at their disposal. And here's my question for you. And I'd love to see you guys post in the comments here just to show me that you watched the video. Hey, what is one way you could model reflection with AI in your classroom this week? Don't forget, if you want the evaluation cheat sheet and the UDL prompts, I got you. They're in the notes, right? They're in the comments. And thanks for being here. Thanks for teaching our kiddos and teaching them how to think and not just do shortcuts. It really does matter. See you next time.